Within just 3 days of this, right, on May 5th, when Joseph Hooker has a council of officers after all the bloodshed to follow, Howard is among those advocating to stay. We're ready to go. We're reorganized. We're ready to get thrown back into this. Let's keep going. And it's Hooker's ultimate judgment to retreat. 2 months from now at Gettysburg, the 11th Corps will fight again. They'll make stands outside of town. They'll make a stand at Cemetery Hill. They'll fight heavily on the evening of July 2nd, 2 months from the day, against Confederate attacks against East Cemetery Hill. They'll be transferred to East Tennessee and to North Georgia, where they fight extensively in the fall of 1863 and the spring of 1864. They're good soldiers, and they defend themselves for the rest of their lives. And so as we encounter people today in our own lives who are different from ourselves, who have kind of different customs or ethnicities, how do we react to them, and how do we think about them, and how does the media perceive them, and these newspapers that go out across the country, right? So the reality of this is that for about an hour, these soldiers fought and died to buy time.
Everybody beyond this point is in pure chaos. Why did the Confederates take 2 hours to go 1 mile beyond this? Because the Federals made a stand on this hill. It completely disorganized the Confederate line. And from here on out, everything that transpires beyond this point is a direct effect of that. So, Stonewall Jackson's flank attack. It's this amazing event that occurred 160 years ago on this ground. The Confederate story is it's an unmitigated success. But was it? It achieves a lot. It achieves more than perhaps could be done on this landscape with this number of troops. But maybe the most amazing thing of it is just simply because it's so improbable. That nobody should have ever conceived of this, much less have executed it. But it's not perfect. There is no such thing as perfect in battle. This attack only covers 4 miles from its beginning to its end. And in the process, it completely disorganizes 2 of 3 divisions in this attack. To the point where nobody can fight significantly beyond this point. Union resistance is broken, but just as badly disorganized is the Confederates going beyond this point. And then ultimately, what happens in 2 hours? Stonewall Jackson gets shot, trying to create order out of chaos. A chaos that was born just in the last mile that we've walked. A chaos that was born of Union resistance that bucks the trend of our story of completely overrunning them from beginning to end. So it's interesting how we perceive this and how we've reacted to it over the course of time. Because for years, we thought this was the perfect attack. This was the ideal attack. And it was the attack that most people wanted to blueprint and try to reconfigure, reconstitute time and time again, even into our day. When we look back just towards Desert Storm and Norman Schwarzkopf. And Norman Schwarzkopf said that the fight for Kuwait was based on emulating the movements of Lee and Jackson. And what is that movement? It was the flank march and the flank attack that follows that. In Schwarzkopf's day, the flank attack becomes known as the left hook that goes through the desert. The person who spearheaded that was a general named Frederick Franks, 7th Corps commander. And he had a pithy way of putting this. He said he executed a perfect Jacksonian movement. Love the sound of that. Sounds like it should have its own patent. A Jacksonian movement. And not only that, a perfect Jacksonian movement. So we're emulating Jackson to the ideal of the attack, rather than the reality of what really transpired on this ground. But it's the ideal that inspires. It is the ideal that provokes. And it goes beyond and transcends the reality of an attack that is so celebrated that it only gets 4 miles before it has to run out of steam because it's so disorganized. So, the little reality check is, no attack is easy, no attack is going to be smooth. Resistance is always going to be something that will completely disrupt a timetable or even an alignment. And it's how readily you adapt to these things that will determine your success or failure. Confederates took this attack about as far as they could possibly do it. And while others are inspired by it, I dare say that others have taken that inspiration and have taken this attack to a whole different level. So maybe there is a place for this. It's not that it's perfect, but that it inspires those to seek perfection.